Some other practical things that, in terms of the suggested exercises here, is that once you're able to feel a magnetic field, you make a map of your bed, you make a magnetic map of your house, and you make a magnetic map of your backyard. And once you begin to get the idea of where the magnetic lines look like beautiful rose petals, there beautiful things grow, people and flowers. Whereas the magnetic lines are dizzy, then the people are dizzy and so are the plants. Some ways to do this include if you install a labyrinth or a stone circle where you braid the magnetism. The labyrinth, for example, you can read about this at danwinter.com/labyrinth, Labyrynth. But the labyrinth is simply the shadow of the 7-color donut on the land, where it's this turning inside-out ness, and it creates this dimpling force. And where there is the ability to dimple, there is the ability to begin sorting magnetic lines. So let's look at a picture. So the labyrinth is essentially oriented magnetically. This is an exercise in how to make sacred space in your backyard. The mouth of the labyrinth, north, south, east, or west, will determine its quality, what magnetism it's attracting. And it's a way of creating sacred space by actively using paramagnetic stones carefully chosen to create that folding which creates the dimpling force. And if we look, really what's happening there is the labyrinth is a two-dimensional or planar flatland projection of the 7 spins on the surface of the 7-color donut Mobius. So it's really a magnetic donut learning how to create that dimpling relationship of the penis to the vagina in that sense. And if we zoom down here, we see that the one-dimensional turning inside out, which is right at the beginning there, the Greek key. Do you see the Greek key there? If you revolve the Greek key, you have in 2 dimensions the planar labyrinth, which is simply the sequence of turns you'd make to turn inside out on flatland. So when you reach the center of the labyrinth, even if you're riding a horse on a horse labyrinth, you create a common center of gravity, turn inside out point, by which man and horse become one. And in the same process, man and the earth can become one by entering the dimpling point. So that's another example of creating sacred space on your land, whether it's a stone circle, whether it's using paramagnetic stones or dolmens. It's to get the idea that structures in the earth, like limestone, unlike sandstone will fractionate the magnetism, but paramagnetic structures like limestone will be a lens for magnetic field. So you make pretty pictures out of the magnetism on your land, and then you inhabit that field. It's a kind of a case of prepare the field and she will come. But it's really more like if you have intense bliss, Kundalini for example, you will ultimately not be able to be sane to support that spin density unless you inhabit a landscape where when you look out in your backyard, that too is fractal. And the other thing, of course, is that you do that in places in time which are also fractal. That's the meaning of the solar calendar and the Tutankhamun prophecies and the Mayan calendar. It's all a map of how to embed yourself in the solar patterns, because we need to be fractal in time as well as fractal in space.